Earlier, you brought up green tea. Let's talk about why you're such a big fan, and then other drinks that are either neutral or positive when it comes to living this lifestyle.
Yeah, so green tea is sort of got a number of benefits. So one is it affects this hormone called COMT. So COMT breaks down adrenaline and noradrenaline. So when you inhibit COMT, you don't break down the adrenaline, noradrenaline. So you actually have slightly higher levels of sympathetic tone. So again, that higher level of sympathetic tone decreases hunger by pushing down that thermostat, right? Just like nicotine, it also increases your sympathetic tone. So green tea, by inhibiting COMT, does the same thing. So that's going to be an advantage because you can measurably reduce somebody's hunger level when they drink a lot of green tea. The other thing is that Asians may have higher COMT levels than Caucasians. So the effect on Asians may be higher than in Caucasian. So Japanese and Asians who do drink a lot of green tea, it may be because it's more specifically effective for them, just because, the genetic variation in COMT levels. It also contains a bit of caffeine. So again, caffeine's a stimulant, it's going to raise your metabolic rate. So this combination of sort of increasing your metabolic rate and then decreasing your hunger levels is good. And then it displaces, you wanting the sodas and sweetened drinks and so on. So it sort of takes away from that. So green tea, for a lot of reasons, is very ideally situated. Black tea also has theaflavins, which is another hormone, is another polyphenol that's considered to be very beneficial. So they all have their place. And coffee is also very good. So coffee, they talk about a lot, a lot of epidemiologic studies linking coffee drinking to less chronic diseases, for example. So all in all, there's coffees and teas are sort of really good. Now, try to avoid putting sugar in them. There's a lot of these bubble tea places, right? And you get these green teas that are actually just full of cream and sugar, and it's like, all right, well, that's not what I'm talking about, right? I'm talking about just regular green tea. And you can do them cold too. So there's certain things about teas that are interesting. So you can actually cold steep them. So just like you do a cold brew coffee, it's a lot smoother, right? The cold brew coffee, if you ever make it, it just feels smoother, right? And it's because of the way, you're extracting the nutrients isn't as quick. That's why you have to steep it for a long time. You can actually cold brew tea as well. And that extracts more of the catechins, which is the main one is called ECGC, and that's believed to be responsible for a lot of the benefits of the green tea. But anyway, you can also cold brew it and then leave it in the fridge as an ice drink. So in the summertime, I will do a lot of ice green teas. I actually buy ice green tea sometimes, although it's a lot cheaper to make your own, but it's very popular in Japan, for example. There's a lot of these drinks that are just ice green tea, totally unsweetened, right? No sugar in them, just the ice green tea. And then you can also add some herbs and stuff to them. So you can also do herbal teas, which are very nice when you ice them as well. So, if you think it's only for the hot, no, you can do them, all of them cold, and they're actually quite delicious. Same thing for the coffees, right? You can do them cold. So there's several variations, right? You can cold brew them, you can use them iced. And then the other thing that's often, quite quite good is to infuse them with things. So if you know how they infuse water in the spas, they put a few slices of lemon or lime or strawberry or cucumber in the water. You can do the same thing when you do it with the tea, and it actually gives it a really nice sort of fruity flavor, right? So if you simply cut a few strawberries and put it in, the strawberry flavor will just infuse into the water. In this case, it's with the tea leaves as well, but you get sort of this fruity green tea for really, really cheap, right? Because green tea is not particularly expensive. And by doing that, of course, you're giving yourself less temptation. Making a big thing of ice green tea means that you'll be less tempted to reach for a cold beer or a cold, soda, which has a lot of carbohydrates or sugar in it, right? It's just displacing it. It's making it easy for you to stay healthy.
Any natural supplements in the realm of this conversation somebody could consider when it comes to blood glucose, bringing insulin down, metabolic health?
And there's a few.
For me, the one that pops out is berberine
Yeah, berberine.
that I hear people talk about periodically, but I'll have you riff on anything in that realm.
So berberine has been used, and it's actually related to the drug metformin, so it can bring down the blood glucose. And if people want to use it, it's great. It does bring down the glucose. The other thing that is actually has some good data, is bitter foods. So bitter melon, bitter gourd. They have a lot of these supplements now. I've seen a few patients actually bring them in. So the bitter foods, for some reason, also impact blood glucose. It actually brings it down. So eating bitter melon is traditional in Chinese cuisine, but not a lot of people otherwise eat these bitter foods. So you can get these supplements, bitter melon supplements and stuff. I just saw somebody today. That's why I was just thinking about it. But I do talk about bitter foods in the Hunger Code as well, because it does sort of, provide that bit of satiety and so on.
Since you made it to the end of this clip, I know you're going to love the full episode. Click here to watch. I'll see you over there.
Different foods stimulate different levels of insulin. What's insulin's job? Well, to tell you to store more body fat. If it's chronically high, you're going to gain a lot of weight because you're moving a lot of glucose into the cells. They're going to fill up so that glucose